All right, welcome to the after work video for the JNCIE-SP. Started a new topic in the last video. I will share my screen 2. The topic was ACLs, as they're known in Cisco land. They're known as firewall filters in Juniper land. They have a different name, but they're synonyms. So we had to do some fix-up of the lab because we had the CLI issue. Normally I would start the video by doing a help apropos on the topic, but it took some time for the CLI to come back. But this was during the lunchtime video, so it was only a few hours ago. So hopefully, yep, so the CLI is still good to go. The other thing I had to do is reinstall some of the packages on the Ubuntu device. I could take a snapshot. There probably is some way to have that persist on there. I'm not sure why it goes away. But in order to take a snapshot, I have to shut the lab down and then restart it. And shutting it down takes a fair bit of time. So I guess I could shut down the lab, take a snapshot, start the lab, close it whenever I'm done. I can have like a closing procedure. That would only take like a minute or 2 minutes tops. But for now, let's just keep moving on. Let me write that down in a note. That's the other thing that I had an issue with in the last video. I forgot the password I was using to connect to Radius, so I actually had to pull up a earlier video on my channel where I set that in order to figure out what it was. Otherwise, I would have had to blank out the config, delete the device, and then recreate a new one. So in the wild, where you have an actual device, you of course wouldn't be able to do that, but you're going to have an actual device, so you're going to have a form factor, and then there's going to be a button on it that you hold down, and it'll take you to a special prompt where you can get past the issue, a similar issue like that. So I'm going to continue to take good notes, and I'm going to just write down some things that I think would be important to always have functional on my lab. So SNMP, NTP, Radius are always going to need to be on there. User accounts, of course. Just the basic bread and butter things that you would require in a production network, I think would be important to have on my lab, just so I get used to them because they will be there during the test. So, yep, that's pretty much it for now. But of course, there will be more added later. I guess the third thing would be no bogans, ACL. So yep, so we've got, no bogans ACL, I think would be important to have on there. And then the other one is so restricted management ACL too. So I think that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to create another Ubuntu Docker guest. So you'll see it'll set up the, so yep, I've got another Ubuntu Docker guest. So I'll plug it in on the other side here to router 4. And then I'll plug it on this side to router 1, because then the idea will be that I'll be able to manage any of these devices through either guest 1 or guest 2 until I set up that firewall filter that makes it so only guest 1 or guest 2 can access them. Kind of as an example of how you can lock down your network and make it more secure by whitelisting access to your network, only allowing authorized devices to have management to it. Okay, so I'm going to need to add another cable. All right. So let's open up router 1 and configure that. I'm going to change the description on this interface. And I'll call it guest-1 because that's actually in the host name of that device. Okay, and now we've got guest2, and we're going to need an IP address for this. So here we've got a /30 network for going to guest1. So let's use the next /30 network available for the connection going to guest2. Oops. I always forget that. So 4 is going to be the network address, so we're going to have to use 5. And then 6 will be going on the Ubuntu Docker guest. We're also going to need to add the new interface to OSPF. But it can be a passive interface because we don't need to run OSPF on it. We just need to advertise the network to the rest of the routers. Okay, so let's just take a look at the config in general. Yep, everything looks pretty good. So let's set up the Ubuntu Docker guest. Make sure it can access those devices the same way -1 can. So we need to do ifconfig. Yep, and now we'll need to assign an address to eth0. One thing I kind of am interested in doing is just, because I haven't really worked a lot with DHCP lately. Of course, it's something that I have definitely used, but I just want it to be a bit more fresh in my mind. So if there is a DHCP server on the router, as there is for Cisco gear, I think I would like to use that just to get used to that. It's always very useful to be able to use a DHCP server. Things like zero-touch provisioning really depend on a DHCP server. So if there is one available to use, I think it's a good idea to learn how to use it. Oops. Okay, so here we go, DHCP server example configuration. All right, so here we go. So you can see that help apropos method is really powerful during the test. If there's something I don't know how to do, I can just do help apropos, pipe match, and then the regular expression for it to begin with help, and then topic is more verbose. Let's see what reference has to say, just to see if it's any better. But I think for the most part, topic is kind of the key, because reference will just print out. So yeah, we're gonna get like a clear example of it. You would use topic instead of reference. Yeah, so I really don't see anything as clear under reference as I did for topic. Yep, so topic is really the main thing. You even got, if you do pipe match example, you've got numerous examples of, yeah, so you've got, so help topic I think is generally more useful than help reference. But here's the example on how to set up a DHCP server, which I'm going to do just because I'm kind of curious about how it works, and I don't think it's a lot of extra time to figure out. And if there's just randomly out of nowhere it's on the test, I will have studied it. I don't think that's very likely, but what is very, very, very likely is randomly out of nowhere on the job, I'm going to need to set up a DHCP server on a Juniper. That's very likely. So let's see here. All right, so let's just go right into edit pool. I don't think all that other stuff is necessary. So, yep, and then we'll just give it 192.168.0.4/30. And then we'll exclude the address that is already assigned to this router. Okay. And then we're going to have router. I assume that is, yep, so that's the default gateway. I guess I don't know what server identifier is if router is default gateway. Oh, okay. So in my case, it's going to be the same. Oh, so set router. Oops, not that one. Perfect. There we go. Now set server identifier. Yep, it's going to be the same. Okay, so yep, we just need that one pool. We're not going to be, so for VoIP, you would need extra options, option 82. But for just what we're doing here, this is going to be just fine. I'm kind of interested how you could just set up like a helper address, because that's more commonly what you're going to need to do in production. Because putting a DHCP server directly on the device is, I think, kind of rare, and it's a bit of a management nightmare too, because then you don't have the ability to manage your settings in one centralized location that's all spread out throughout your network. So let's go top, show pipe compare, commit and quits. Perfect. So now let's see if this even now, because it's probably set up for DHCP. Nope. Okay, so I've got to enable it to work with DHCP. I can do that, no problem. Oops. Unless, of course, it just crashes on me, which is what it appeared to have done. But, oh, yeah, it completely crashed. It actually shut down. So, oh, I guess I could have configured it before I started it up. That's too bad. I kind of wish I had done that. Oh, this is interesting. So I can make directories persistent. So this looks like how I can make it so I don't lose my configuration. Okay, you can see I do CLI because I'm used to seeing that when I first log into a Juniper, especially in the lab. Production, I'm not used to seeing that. You won't see that unless you have root, and it's rare that you'll have root, especially outside of a maintenance window. But let's do a ifconfig to see if, nope, so yep, we're gonna need to, there we go. All right, so we are good to go. And yep, so now we're doing the, oh no, it failed. Why did it fail? Okay. Why did it fail? Don't know why it failed. Let's sniff the link and make sure that the process is handled properly. Oh, so yep, we're getting DHCP packets, lots of discover, and it's okay. So this is from the server. No. This is from the Ubuntu machine. All we've got is the MAC address, but we can find the MAC address. It's just going to be in the ifconfig. Oops, it's going to be on the Ubuntu though. I've already got it up. So we've got ending in 6FFA. Yep, 6FFA. So these are sourced from the Ubuntu server. And you can see we're not getting a reply back from the Juniper. That's the problem. So let's figure out why we're not getting a reply back. Okay, so I thought all I would need was this pool here, but I might need something else. I might need router maybe? Oh, but I have router within pool. You can include it with pool or without pool. I mean, we can of course statically bind it based on the MAC address, but I'd rather just have it be able to respond to those DHCP discover packets. Or sorry, frames. These are definitely not packets. They're frames because we don't even have IP addressing. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit too nuanced to specify between a frame and a packet. Like, yeah, I mean, they're encapsulated. So yeah, you have a banana and you have a banana peel. You don't have to say banana peel or banana fruit. Like, you don't have to specify between the two, but sometimes it is useful to say to somebody that you don't eat the banana peel and make that difference between the two. So in the same way, you've got a packet, is the banana fruit, but then you've got the frame, which is the banana peel. So they're layered, they're encapsulated in a similar fashion. So sometimes it is important to say if you're talking about the fruit inside or just the peel around it. Okay, but this is the segment. So it's a frame packet segment. So we gotta look at the segment and figure out well, let's do this again. Let's go help apropos. There we go. So here's the problem. Configure a filter that accepts DHCP packets with a source address of 0000 and a destination address of /32. So we're going to need this on here. Otherwise, it's just going to throw this away. So let's add that configuration on there, and hopefully that fixes the problem. And this is good too, because this is firewall configuration, which is essentially what we're learning about anyways. We're learning about filters more specifically, but, oh, well, this is a filter. And this is a family INET filter as well. There's also, yeah, so you can set up a filter for multiple different kinds of protocols. But when you call that filter, you've got to call it in the appropriate place. So let's say you set up a family INET filter, and then you try to apply it to a CCC port that's on layer 2, not going to work. And that's something that, for me, when I first started playing around with Junipers, was a sticking point, was something I had trouble figuring out what the problem was, because it was unclear to me by default the characteristics of the object I was applying the filter to. Oops. So one of the things you might think about this ACL, that seems really insecure to just accept all broadcast address. Well, remember my point from the first video and what we read about ACLs or firewall filters. They always come in pairs. They come with the matching, well, let's use these two fingers if I can. They always come in pairs. They come. I'm in Austin, Texas anyway, so I should just do this. They always come in pairs, the matching and the action. So even though you have matching set up that may say be unsecure, it's only not secure once you apply the action that makes it not secure. So if you apply the appropriate action, you can have matchings. You can have any matching you would like. There's no restriction. There's no security trade-off. There's no problem with having matching rules as long as your actions are good, are appropriate, and do not cause those security concerns. All right, so now it's got to be applied. Oh, and it's got to be applied to the interface. That makes sense. And it's an INET filter, so it's got to go on the logical unit where the IP is. It can't go on the regular Ethernet interface there because it's an INET filter. In fact, let's do that to see what the error message will look like. So, oops. Oh, okay. I actually don't see. I don't see it on there. So yeah. Unfortunately, I won't be able to demo that. There'll be plenty of times for where I can show errors. So it's definitely not going to be the last time. like not seeing an error here is it's not like, yeah. So I'm just gonna skip trying to demo that and go into family INET and set RPF check. Let's get help on that. Enable reverse path forwarding checks on this interface. And then we've got a fail filter, RPF DHCP, which is the name of our filter. It's a custom name. Oops, and it's going to be RPF, not RFP. There we go. So let's commit it. And now hopefully it can reply back to the offer packets. Let's stop and quit without saving. Shut this down. Shut this down. Then stop the capture. And then we'll start the machine, start the capture. Hopefully we get all the packets. I might be able to start the capture, start the machine, but let me try that actually. Oops, well, I actually accidentally clicked the wrong button. So let's see if this is going to work. All right, let's stop the machine, and that will start the machine. I've got the capture going already, so hopefully, yep, okay, it does just seamlessly go in. So now we've got our DHCP protocol traffic going through, but we still got that same issue, even though it's now being accepted through that firewall for some reason. So DHCP, the process is DORA, kind of like DORA to Explorer, discover, offer, request, acknowledge. We're not getting an offer packet back from the Juniper. Okay, so this is kind of a bigger diversion than I thought it would be. Yeah, and it's failing to get the least. Well, that's too bad. I didn't think this would be this hard. I thought this would be pretty easy. I just don't know what I'm missing. So I've got the pool, then I've got the rudder. So it should be able to hand out .6. I don't understand what I'm missing. So, I mean, I get if I were missing this, but I added it. Oh, help to Pice. All right, so here's an overview that might be useful. So I wonder, well, what's happening is it's just not responding back to those offer messages for some reason. So let's see, or sorry, discover messages. It's not responding back with an offer message to this discover message. And I mean, it makes sense it wouldn't do that because it's got no IP to respond back to because it doesn't have an IP yet, but it should be able to use the MAC address. It's got the MAC address. I think that's how that works. Here we go. So Okay, so here's that Dora Dora the Explorer process. So when a client computer is started, it broadcasts a DHCP discover message on the local subnet. Yep, requesting a DHCP server. This request includes the hardware address of the requesting client. Yep, exactly. Each DHCP server receiving the broadcast sends a DHCP offer message to the client, offering a IP address for a set period of time. So I think the problem is that it's not a DHCP server yet for some reason. So I didn't turn this device into a DHCP server. Okay, so yeah, so I think I need to have router within. Yeah, I think I'm missing a configuration from there that makes this a DHCP server. Yeah. Oh, I thought I had that. I do. I have it, but I don't have it outside of the pool. Oh, I think this is it. The boot server. No. Well, we'll figure it out. So yeah, so I'm going to try with boot server because this is advertised to clients. I'm not sure what they mean by boot server, but the problem we're having is that the clients aren't being advertised a DHCP server they can use. They're sending discovers, but they're not getting back offers. Okay, and let's set up trace options as well. So edit system services DHCP, set trace options. And then we'll do flag all file DHCP logs, top, commit, and quit. And now we'll do a monitor start DHCP logs. All right, and it might have worked. No, it didn't. So let's try restarting this again. So we'll stop the capture, stop the device, start the capture, and start the device. Okay, so yeah, we're still not getting any offers. We're only getting discovers, and we're not even getting any DHCP messages either. So I don't have router set up yet. Aha. So now we got DHCP. So I think this is how you would set it up to be a DHCP client, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, so this is going to be configuration as if it were a client. I need to configure it as if it were a server. So unfortunately, this is as far as I can get. I will do a Google search. And unfortunately, I did not think this would be a huge diversion, just setting up DHCP. But it's not the worst thing in the world because we did do a firewall filter, which is what I was meant to look at before I got derailed. Oh, I suppose I could have done some show DHCP commands, and maybe I could have figured it out like that. Let me try that before moving on. Show DHCP, and then server. The binding, which we're not going to have anything in this because this just says, aha, DHCP service subsystem not running. So this is clearly what the problem is, not needed by configuration. So clearly this is the problem, the DHCP service subsystem. So let's do a statistics, same thing, DHCP service subsystem. So let's do help apropos DHCP service. So edit system processes, set DHCP service. Let's do delete DHCP service disable, save it not found. Okay, so it looks like there's more than just what? Okay. How did I get to? Yeah, I'm just going to stick to the documentation here. Hopefully this makes it clear. So, oh. Okay, well, where was I? Yes, discard. So I somehow made it into a set system services DHCP, but if you go into configure private and you go set system services D, there's no option for DHCP. It looks like it's a secret option that I made it into somehow. That's not a part of the help menu. So very clearly you can see there's set system services DHCP, which if I do a question mark here, you can see it's not a part of the help menu. But then there's also set system services DHCP-local-server. And you can see very clearly they are different here. So yeah, that's why I was so confused, because it looks like you're not meant to uh, configure it that way, and that's probably why it's not in the help menu at all. But yeah, that's quite confusing that there's a hidden secret option that is named after the option that you would think that it would be. You would think it would just be edit system services DHCP instead of edit access address assignment. I mean, it doesn't even say DHCP anywhere there. So it's kind of surprising to me that that would be how you configure DHCP. But let's do a up and then delete DHCP. Okay, so now we've got this blanked out. So let's do edit access, edit address assignment, edit pool. Let's say my pool. So edit family inet, set network 192.168.0.4/30. And let's go into an edit for that. Oops. Can't do an edit for that. So let's do a set range name, range, or let's call it single IP. And then we're going to say the high limits and the low limit. Okay. So now we're going to do top. Services, and now we're going to need to do we're going to need to do DHCP-local-server, which is different from just plain old DHCP, which you can see they also have, but it's not included in the help menu for some reason. It's a secret option. So I don't know what's going on there, but let's go into the one recommended by the help documentation. So let's call it guest-2 for the name of that thing, and then we'll say okay. So they're telling me that is correct. I think. I mean, I was missing this step here. Okay, well, it committed. Let's see if they're now giving so let's redo this. I would be really surprised if this worked. Like, I would be so shocked if this worked. It just makes no sense. Generally, I'm a fan of Juniper's, but if this is how you configure DHCP, I will be kind of upset. Okay, yep, so it didn't work. Which I'm glad, because that is just a very confusing way to configure DHCP. So yeah, I guess I don't know how to configure a DHCP server on Juniper. Yeah, it'd be really nice to get this going. I don't know what the issue is. So I've got this part pretty much configured, I think. Let's configure the client options. Well, I'm actually this video is going a bit longer. I'm kind of running out of steam, so I'm gonna have to end the video here. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to take the L on this one. Really don't like doing that, but I'm not sure why it's not able to serve up an IP. It seemed intuitive, but then I saw that DHCP is not a part of the help menu, and the help documentation tells you not to use DHCP to configure DHCP. They tell you to use DHCP-local-server. So I found a hidden secret option that ended up not working. So I don't know if I just don't have the ability to have it. I mean, you're meant to configure DHCP in a server somewhere anyways. On a device like this, you would just have a helper address pointing to the server. You wouldn't typically have a DHCP server on the device itself, although I know on Cisco devices that is very possible. So I'm willing to take the L. I don't think it's that important that I know how to do that on here. It's just an extra thing that will come in handy on the job. At some time I know if I can do it with Juniper's, but I can do it with Cisco's anyway. So I'm going to take the L for Juniper's, maybe come back to it later. But for now, I'm going to end the video here. Unfortunately, it got completely derailed into a video on trying to set up a DHCP server on the Juniper, but we did see a little bit of firewall configuration. So I'll include that in the link to this video. I'll go back to that. So it was example configuration. Where was it? So is it? Yeah, this was it. So example, accepting DHCP packets with specific source address. So we did end up doing a filter, but it's not a, yeah, we did end up doing a firewall filter, just as was the title of this video. So I'll include that in the description, and I'll see you in the next one where we can hopefully stay on track, kind of got off track, but and set up a no bogans ACL, and then set up restricted management to the network, and we'll just use a static IP on the Ubuntu Docker guest instead of trying to get fancy and derailing the whole video and then an hour later just giving up. So join me in the next one, and thanks for watching.